Hello folks, I'm the Old Sergeant. Recently, a large group of retired American generals and admirals, members of Flag Officers for America, released a letter pointing out the existential threats to the Republic. It warns that Marxists are taking over the country. I posted a video about that letter a short time ago. I wrote a letter to the organization asking them if they could form something like Senior NCOs for America. I received a letter back from retired Major General Joseph Arbuckle. I am emailing you because you responded to the Retired Generals and Admirals, Flag Officers, open letter in support of our Constitution. Unfortunately, we could not add your name to the letter due to our extremely small volunteer staff size. We had to limit it to retired generals and admirals. So many wonderful patriots responded that we looked for a way outside of the small retired flag letter deemed to accommodate your desire to sign a letter similar to the one the retired flags signed. Former Congressman and retired Lieutenant Colonel Allen West has taken up the mantle and is organizing a letter to encompass all retired military. He is on the policy board of the American Constitutional Rights Union, a nonprofit that is helping to coordinate the letter. From my understanding, Lieutenant Colonel West is looking forward to receiving a large groundswell of support from concerned patriotic citizens like you. I have attached a copy of Lieutenant Colonel West's letter. Please let me know if you would like your name added, and his team will get back to you. Thanks, and may God bless America. Joe Arbuckle, Major General, U.S. Army, retired. I, of course, wrote back to the general and said I would be honored to sign the letter. Here's a copy of the letter put forward by Lieutenant Colonel Allen West from the Policy Board of the American Constitutional Rights Union.
Open letter from retired U.S. military, support and defend. As former members of the U.S. military who have proudly served our nation, we write to express our support for constitutional freedom and liberty and our concern for our country as many powerful forces to bring socialism and Marxism to our land. When we agreed to serve our country, we pledged to support and defend the U.S. Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. During our active duty service, we did just that. Today, although no longer active duty warriors, we are still bound to this pledge and believe we are ethically obligated to protect our country. As such, we put our nation's leadership on notice. We believe the hard left turn toward socialism and Marxism endangers our citizens and the future of this great nation. Although a difficult step to take, we believe this step is necessary for us to continue to demonstrate the integrity and moral courage our oath requires. We are disgusted by the dismantling of the rule of law in our great country. We never thought we would see the return to Vietnam-style disdain for public service. Unfortunately, this disregard and disrespect is corrosive and will lead to dangerous situations for citizens and law enforcement. A revolving door for criminals and a two-tier justice system that offers up different penalties based on the viewpoints of the accused must end. It disturbs us to see the erosion of fair and honest elections. Civilians doubt that our electoral system accurately reflects the will of the people. Current servicemen and women struggle to find clear instructions on how they can execute their own constitutional right to vote and doubt their ballots will be counted. We reject efforts by those who seek to avoid fair and honest elections by deeming common-sense voting measures racist. The gold standard in voting, recognized throughout the world, is in person, with identification, yet politicians are seeking to end this in the U.S. We oppose the politicization and ideological purging of our military. The focus of our military should be on training, readiness, and defense of our nation, not leftist cultural wokeness. We decry the assault on our constitutional rights through censorship of written and verbal expression, and we point out the complicit arrangement between private corporations and those in power to present only one point of view. Never did we think we would see the day when our media resembled Pravda. Bureaucratic abuses that have led to business and school closures and excessive lockdowns should not be tolerated by the American people. We do not get our rights from the CDC, the FDA, or from private corporations. And, as such, we will not tolerate Soviet-style internal passports or anything resembling the Chinese social credit system where citizens are monitored and controlled, whether that system be carried out by the government or by their cooperative partners in the private sector. We stand with Israel and call upon all Americans to continue with the Mideast peace initiatives, the Abraham Accords, and oppose re-engaging in the Iran nuclear deal. Iran's acquisition of nuclear weapons is not in the interest of freedom-loving individuals. We believe it is in the self-interest of all Americans to oppose this deal. We must continue our efforts for energy independence. We believe it is in our nation's best interest to reopen the Keystone Pipeline and focus on regaining U.S. jobs and protecting the national security interests provided by energy independence. The perforation of our southern border is a lifeline for terrorists, drug cartels, and human traffickers. The current administration's position on open borders and illegal immigrants places our nation at risk from a health, economic, and safety perspective. As a sovereign nation, we have a right and a duty to protect our borders. We oppose the establishment of cooperative relations with China as we believe the Chinese Communist Party is focused on global militaristic and technological domination. It is currently amassing weapons to stage a takeover of Taiwan. America is bound by the Sino-American Mutual Defense Treaty, which protects Taiwan from invasion by the People's Republic of China. Our cooperation with China is at odds with our signed alliances and is not in American self-interest. We must focus on preventing Chinese expansionism and protect our nation from attacks on our infrastructure by securing our gas pipelines and electric grids from penetration. We call upon the American people to join us in opposing the advancement of socialism by holding public officials accountable in the public square and the voting booth. We must elect local, state, and federal candidates who will always act to defend our constitutional republic. The survival of our nation and its historic values, liberty and freedom, are at stake.
I do not have the link yet on how to contact the policy board of the ACRU. If you are a retired military and want to stick your neck out and sign the letter, I'll post the link to the letter as soon as I have the information. I will post the link to the ACRU's website. Remember, the Pentagon can take our names and take actions like taking away our pensions, medical, service-connected disability, and other compensations. They can even go as far as to pull us back on active duty and court-martial us as members of a domestic enemy extremist group. They can remove all record of your military service and claim you were never a veteran and you are just stealing valor. Be willing to take what the fascists in control of our government can and will do to us. I am the old sergeant. Stay informed, prepared, active, prayerful, and as always, stay vigilant.